Hello everyone, welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have with us Mr. Hitesh Soni. Hitesh is an Indian lawyer who primarily practices in Bombay High Court and has contributed to the development of law with many reported judgments. As of today, Mr. Soni has handled more than 200 cases in Bombay High Court and several other courts in India. He has a vast legal expertise in the field of constitutional, corporate, commercial, international trade and custom, immigration, and white collar crimes. He is also a founder, managing director of Hitesh Soni and Associates, which is based in Mumbai. And he established this when he was barely 26 in the year 2017. Being a young professional, Mr. Soni is known for his mindset and ethical practice in the field of law. He has recently featured in June 2021 edition of magazine issue titled Most Reliable Law Firm, published by Insight Success. He is termed as the Erudite Visionary by the editor of the magazine. So now, without further ado, let's dive in to know more about him. So, hi, Mr. Soni. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, and I'm complete gratitude to the LexTalk and the entire team for inviting me for such an interview.
Pleasure is all ours, Mr. Soni. So, Mr. Soni, please tell us about a complex legal issue that you worked on, and also describe the complexity, and also tell us how you approached it.
See, for a lawyer, all matters are complex for one or other reasons. But if you ask me particularly, there are some matter which I worked on, which not only involved complex legal issues, but also involved the human touch and the psychology. We also worked on to the psychology from beginning to end. And the one matter which I worked was pertaining to a litigations in involving a shareholder agreement. And the client have invested more than 75 crore, and something wrong into the clauses were not poorly drafted, and completely there was something more needed to be done in the clauses, but it was poorly drafted. The client went into a litigations. The litigation complexity was such that there as many as 20 litigations was pending in the High Court, NCLT, and now NCLV, and other various other courts and forums. So ultimately, the matter got resolved in the High Court, and the client got its money, but it also went into a serious fraud investigation, EOW, and whatnot. So matter was pending for an entire 8 years, and during the 8 years, the clients, the complexity was, not only the issue of complexity we have to understand, but also the client psychology, able to tell him that, you will get a justice and all that. So these all the issues becomes complex. And another complex issue which I worked was regarding an arbitration proceedings under Section 19 of Arbitration Act, whereby the arbitrator have rejected the claim of our client. The claim was rejected on the basis of its delay. So we went into High Court and said that, arbitration is a master of proceeding, but still he ought to have entailed the claim, because after all, it's for the arbitrator to decide the claim after, the due procedure of law. So the High Court have, decided that, and there are a number of cases which we, a number of question of law deals with in the High Court. So there are lots of matters which I dealt and we are dealing, and we cannot comment on the matters which are sub judice and currently which I am dealing. So I have only spoke about what matter I have dealt.
Right, that was very nicely explained. Now, as we are still in between the pandemic, so the pandemic saw some courts begin move towards remote proceedings and availability. Is this sustainable and a feasible way to increase access to justice, in your opinion?
Yeah, of course, not sustainable at all, because, even it is a hybrid, virtual hearing is there, physical hearing is there, and the court have been doing great. If you ask specific in Bombay High Court, the Bombay High Court post-pandemic, within 2 months, they have started a resume to the virtual hearing in May 2020, starting of the pandemic, and they've been doing great. The lawyers and the judiciary have been doing great to avail the accessibility to the common people. But still, there are a lot of things which need to be worked into, because now we are into physical hearing, and there are some matter which been into virtual hearings. But the clients, doesn't understand all those things, and all for every client, every matter is important, and there are lacks of pending matters which are there. So it's not sustainable if this is the way we are dealing and going to deal. It will, of course, there will be lot of matter which going to pending every year, and it will be going increasing. Recently, Kiran Rijiju, the law minister, said that the ministry have paid a lot of money for infrastructure and all that, but I believe the infrastructure cannot alone help, because the cases are resolved on the basis of the human brains. So money cannot comes in picture. Infrastructure can only help in the artificial intelligence, but the cases are resolved with the human brains and the wisdom. So we need more people in the profession, for example, in the judiciary. And if the more people in the judiciary will come, there will be equal distributions of cases, and so that will, I hope, the all stakeholders, for example, bar council, lawyers, and other people, top people, and other common people who are into the legal profession should work together and should have a strategy or roadmap for a future, that how we should deal. Because in any given period, we haven't seen such type of period where we have to work for a virtual hearings, and so client is waiting for their justice. There are matter pending since 1980s, 1970s, if you count. So I believe there are a lot to be done, if because everyday cases are like going so much, and so many matters are filed every day.
All right. So, how would you rate the current legal system's drive towards encouraging access to justice? Is there a tangible movement in closing the justice gap?
There are there are a lot of things being done. Like in the last question, I have already answered this is quite a relatable question. But if you ask me, lawyers of India are always been underrated. We lawyers in India are working hard day by day, in comparative. For example, in the United States, if you ask me, in the Supreme Court of United States, the Supreme Court of United States only decided 1,200 cases of a year, and in compared to Indian Supreme Court, it decide lakhs of cases. So, but there is there is no appreciation from the, at least for the, so Indian lawyers have been underrated. If you ask me about, for example, like what needs to be done and how it should be done, so of course it's underrated. If you want me to rate the legal system, there have been a lot of development been happening, and it's happened also. But it starts with the academic, how the students of a law student grooms. If you ask me about, how it has changed the history of Indian legal study, starting from 1989, I guess, may not be a fixed period, where National Law School, Bangalore, started 5-year law. And from there, there's a change in the way things are changing in legal profession. Now NLS Bangalore also started with 3-year professions. So these all are things which make a foundation of any professions, and the legal systems is going towards better. But I think there are not lot of things need to be done.
All right. So, in the era of legal technology, what are the most common tools used by you?
For us, human brains, lawyer brains are the most technological we use. But if you ask me specifically, we are using a lot of technology these days, because most of things are based on the virtual, and on also. So like for example, legal research database were always been our favorite. It's been now a traditional way of it. But we generally using, there are two types of tools which we are using. There is a one pre-litigations, ongoing litigation, and the post-litigation. So example, pre-litigations, we have been researching through artificial intelligence. Like for example, many research based are all there. And there are other post-litigation, during the litigations, there are many things which needs technological help. But if you ask me about artificial intelligence in the legal law forms, I don't think so anyone have adopted, except I think Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas, they have done that, but no big law firm or any other law firm, like including us, have adopted a complete, artificial, because you cannot replace lawyer with the robots and all these things. And there are other uh, miscellaneous which are tech platforms like, Zoom, WebEx, and technology. All these are becomes tools, but artificial intelligence, not at all.
All right. Now, Mr. Soni, as you all know that time is money, and
Yes.
time is money in any profession, and in legal it's most of all. So how
Yes.
do you ensure to make the best use of your time as a lawyer?
See, now also we have to, look for it, and because our time in reality is ours, but technically it's all of our clients. So from starting a day, if we're reading the briefs, preparing the draft, and seeing the finalizing the draft, filing it, letting it filing, and argue the matter before the court, and giving the, all the answers to the court, discussing on the question of law. So all things are, very time based, all requires the time, and we cannot hurry on one matter. There are number of matter listed every day. So time, what I manage time according to me is that, see, if you are, the things get more difficult if you are, heading a law firm in a commercial capital of India. So for me, time is always, important. So how I manage a time, which I can tell you, is that this is basically based on the mindset and the decision making power. So what I do is generally, I fix my mindset that what's need to be done, how it should be done, and what is the actual decision making need to be done. So for example, if there's a one file, we don't sit on to it. We take a decision, we set a strategy, and we go for it. So this is how we dealing, because every day new matters are coming, pending matters are there. So this is the time. And of course, personal life is always been there. For Sunday we are very busy, so our lawyers life start Friday night to Saturday, and the Sunday is always for Monday. So this is how a lawyer's been, for me it's always, but I manage my time accordingly, with the mindset, leadership skill, and strategy and decision making. So for young lawyers, my, advice is to work on the mindset that you are working on a particular case, and the decision making should be very, prompt in decision making. For anything you are doing, if you are cannot make a decision and take a decision, the thing will, keep pending for a long and long, and that will not help you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing such great insights with us. So we look forward
Thank
to having a chat with you again in the future on some
you.
other trending topics
Thank you.
in the international legal industry. So for our viewers, if you like this chat with Mr. Hitesh Soni, so please like and share this video as much as you can, and also subscribe to Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from the industry leaders. So this is Nikhil for Let's Talk World signing off. Thank you so much.